Don't even think about buying a home until you've checked out the top 5 mistakes that new buyers make. I'm Realtor Nick Belmore, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to take a little time today, and I want to go over the 5 biggest mistakes that first-time buyers make. And so many buyers out there, just today and even in the past, have been leaving a lot of money on the table by not following or at least really reviewing these 5 things before they make a purchase. So let's take a few minutes and let's dive into the 5 biggest mistakes. Mistake number 1. Not doing enough research. There's no question that having a firm understanding about what you're going into through this process is going to be really important. And there's a few different areas that a lot of buyers struggle with when it comes to the research. Number 1, market research. Understanding your market is ultra important. You want to have an idea of not only what the homes cost in your area, features and benefits for price, but you also want to have some research done into the process, some research done into the financing, and most importantly, buyers today need to do some research on the realtor that they're going to choose to use. Making sure that you have a realtor that is A, super knowledgeable, B, ultra experienced, and C, someone that you feel comfortable with and that you know you can trust through this process is one of the biggest things that people fail to overlook. Your realtor should not just be somebody who's helping to guide you through the process, but also your portal to research on a lot of these different things. And the more your realtor can give you information about all the aspects of home buying, the stronger your experience is going to be and the better deal you're going to get on a home going forward. Mistake number 2. And that's emotional decisions. No question about that. You know, in the past 2 to 3 years, I would say this has probably been one of the biggest drains for money for people buying a home. And listen, I get it. It can be an emotional decision. No doubt for a lot of us. Being tied into the process and understanding that this is going to be the home that we're going to be in. Of course, a lot of people would tell you forever, but the reality is it's typically going to be a 5 to 7 year place for most people at this stage. That being said, making those emotional decisions can absolutely be a tough one. Where do I see these the most? Number 1, bidding wars. No question about it. Now, I will say this, today there are a lot less bidding wars than we have seen in the past. However, this is one of the things that kicks off emotions. It's the scarcity of the process that often drives people to make those emotional decisions when they are involved in the bidding war. So definitely one. Obviously, the other one could be neighborhood status. Are you paying more to live in a more status-filled neighborhood? Sometimes people are. And listen, if your budget allows it, that's not always a bad spend. You just want to be really aware of what's important to you as you start to go forward in this process. Mistake number 3, and I've seen this in the beginning of these bidding wars. I've seen it for years now. Ignoring the home inspection. What do I mean when I'm talking about ignoring the home inspection? Well, there's 2 things that I want to talk about as we dive into this subject specifically. Number 1, eliminating the home inspection from your bid in order to win in a multiple bidding situation. That, without a doubt, can be one of the most costly mistakes made. Why? Because you're not an expert on foundations. You're not an expert on roofing. You're not an expert on the internal workings of your furnace. And notice, these are all huge ticket items. Foundation repairs can go anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000, depending on what's happening with that foundation. If you start to look at roofs, same thing. On the low end, typically around $9,000 for a roof. On the high end, 35 or so. I know some of you feeling that comment right now if you've put a roof on in the past few years. Oh, by the way, with the home building boom that's happened nationwide, it puts more stress on the amount of trades, which drives the prices for roofing, for heating and cooling, for foundation repairs up, and up. So no doubt that if you are skipping your home inspection in order to be in a position that your bid is a little better, a little sweeter if you're in that situation, you need to be an expert yourself or you could be risking thousands of dollars. Second thing that I see when it comes to home inspection, people are going through with their inspector, but they're just simply overlooking major items. And why? The inspector tells you about it, and sometimes I hear this: yeah, I've got a cousin who's an electrician. You might, and that's awesome, but no matter what, when you have to replace that panel, it's going to be a big ticket item. Is your cousin a heating and cooling guy? Cool, that's awesome too. However, you're still gonna be in for several $1,000s if it comes to furnace repair or AC repair. And of course, one of the things that we're seeing on so many of these new models is that you cannot replace the air conditioning and furnace separately. A lot of them are being required to be replaced at the same time for the systems to work, and that can run you $12,000, $15,000, $17,000 in a lot of cases. The day of the $3,000 furnaces are definitely gone, and this is why it's even more important to really understand the condition of these systems when you're making a purchase on a home. Mistake number 4, and that's falling for the trends. No doubt that there are a lot of things that today's home buyers are looking for. That being said, do you want to really pay top dollar because somebody else did the majority? And that's happened a lot of times for buyers as we've gone forward. So whether it's granite countertops today or quartz it could be, or even the outdoor kitchen, some of the really popular trends that are drawing people in can absolutely be the most costly. We want to start to take a look. Is the house in the right location? Does it have the right layout? Well, then quite honestly, some of these things might be available for you to add later versus driving that price up or paying too much for somebody's used trendy things. A couple of things that even come to mind that used to be trends that aren't. My own mom bought a home, put in a central vacuum system. This is about 12, 13 years ago. Quite honestly, today, how many of you guys are looking for central vacs? And it was $3,000 or so when she bought it back then. One of those trends that just simply wasn't worth the money going forward. Another one that you're seeing out there that used to be hot, not so much today, jacuzzi tubs, right? Go back to the early 2000s, every new build had that great big soaking tub, and the industry has really found out that people aren't spending that much time in the bath today. So you don't see that typically offered in new construction today. What's replaced it? Steam showers, wet rooms, all those different types of things. Will they still be in fashion 10, 12 years from now? I guess we're gonna find out. And mistake number 5, last but not least, this could be one of the most important ones out there: not shopping around for your mortgage. Number 1, there's a couple of things that go into the important reasons of why shopping for the mortgage makes sense for our buyers and sellers today. Number 1 is going to be rate, obviously, right? If you're carrying this mortgage for 30 years, the rate absolutely does matter. But there's different types of mortgages, and let me tell you, one mortgage guy is never going to say to you, hey, we don't have this product, but the guy down the street does. So for you, it really does make sense in the beginning to shop around and make sure you are getting a mortgage that fits your needs, that's really putting you in the position to win in the long term. And you want to make sure you're not getting overcharged when it comes to fees from the lender. Now, if you're dealing with an FHA mortgage, that's right, the federal government's not going to allow a lender to throw in a bunch of junk fees. It simply won't get the clear to close from FHA at that stage. However, for a lot of these other types of loans, if it's not a government loan, then a lot of times they might be able to charge you different junk fees that are in there. Take a look at who's charging those. What are your closing costs as you're looking at your mortgages? At least what is your good faith estimate at that stage of those closing costs? And start to compare out there. Now let me say this, while your costs are important, there's definitely way more important things than a $400 fee from a lender. What does that service look like? When there's any kind of hiccups, does your lender disappear? Are they really great at communicating? Are they really great at problem solving? Are they going ahead and giving you a high level of customer service? I will tell you this, it's worth some extra fees for a lender that's attentive and for a lender that's competent within their job. Nothing is more stressful than a buyer going through the whole process, getting to the end and finding out that he can't close because their lender didn't do their job right. Getting the right lender is super important. And I would say, honestly, in my opinion, that is just as important as the rate you're paying. I would never give up $1,000 or $2,000 or at that stage because someone's cheaper versus someone that has amazing customer service, that has great experience, and that is a great communicator. It's truly worth paying your lender a few extra bucks if they can come through and truly help with your options, with your costs, with all those different things going forward. Did any of these mistakes surprise you? If so, I want to hear about it. Tell me in the comments what you guys think, and have any of you ever been caught up in some of these mistakes? Let me also ask you this, did I miss any? Is there something that's on this list, or excuse me, something that's not on this list that should be? If so, let me know in the comments. I greatly appreciate it. And if you found value in this video, help me out by liking and subscribing so I can go ahead and get my videos out to more people, and you can be notified when my new videos come out every single week.